What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 19 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded King Louen campaign. So as we saw last time, the end be nigh no longer. The vampires have ascended and arrived in Bretonnia, with Mousillon and the Barrow Legion both spawning a couple of elite armies right in the midst of our territory. While Louen has taken down the first of the Mousillon armies, the Barrow Legion armies are going to be much more difficult, as Adelard has only garbage peasants primarily making up his host, and basically every single unit in one of these armies can take on 2, maybe 3 of every one of his. So I don't know. I don't know how we're going to pull that one off, but, well, we're going to give it the old college try. Before we do, however, you guys did reach the 200 likes and 30 comments threshold last episode, so this episode will be an hour long, and I make the same offer again. 200 likes and 30 comments, and the next episode will be an hour long as well. Since the next day is Saturday as well, if we manage to go for 300 likes and 40 comments, we'll do a double episode on the Saturday as well. So keep that in mind if you're into that sort of thing. Other than that, there were a few comment requests that I just want to address before we get into battle, as this episode is primarily going to be just battles. Lots of battles in one turn. First of all, somebody asked me to take a look at Alberic's Horde panel, and we have the Fleet Cabin, Sea Cabin, Great Cabin, Cabin here as his Horde building. This does not seem to be anything. Looks non-functional to me. I'm not entirely sure whether that's because we've confederated him or whether it's... That's probably why, but we'll see. Maybe it'll change once we upgrade you to the next level. Actually, no, even when we click on available buildings, there's nothing actually here. Oh well. Either way, this will offer us 50% casualty reduction for this entire army at tier 5, which is pretty darn neat. Too bad it doesn't give us any money, but no big. Let's move you out here to Katak, so while we're at it, Alberic, and we'll set you up right outside of Wallatal, and while we're at it, we'll also build the first level of the officer's cabin. And then, Therese, you're gonna go into Quitax, and you need to get 3, I believe, trebuchets for Alberic. And, ugh, expensive. Trebuchets are expensive. Alrighty, well, that is what it is. Oh, actually, speaking of trebuchets, while we're at it, you, Avril Mercier, are going to go here and you are going to build, guess what? More trebuchets. I believe you need to build 9. If I'm still remembering the numbers correctly. Whether you can actually build 9 at once remains to be seen. That's basically all of our cash. Fortunately, we built all our buildings, so you can still do that. And these are blessed trebuchets as well. And you can build 7, so a couple more afterwards. Alright. There was another comment suggesting that we might be able to trade Fort Bray, which I'm not interested in building, to Reichland. Unfortunately, though, that one's not going to work, as Fort Bray offers only 4.8 points, whereas Gorcel and Darnell, which we would want to trade for them, offer, here's Gorcel, 114 points. So it wouldn't even make a dent. I don't think they'd sell this to us for like 500,000 gold. It's basically impossible unless we give him another settlement that's worth a lot of points with, I don't know, like Marienburg, but obviously we're not going to give that to him. Maybe some vampire territories. It was a nice idea, but unfortunately, the AI doesn't value forts from us. Interestingly enough, I looked at Helmgart between the episodes, and Helmgart is worth 51 points. Basically, despite the fact that this is also at level 2 fort, the same as ours, theirs is worth literally 10 times as many points. Rude, but what can you do? Anyway, that's about it. I think it's time to get into combat with Adelard. So the way that we're going to try to do this, we're going to need all the help we can get. First of all, let's get you a point assigned, and we might want to drop a big old combat of Cassandora if we can manage it. Henri Lamassif is also nearby, so we should be able to get him into this army at the cost of a mounted yeoman, but I'm almost tempted to say... Would the mounted yeoman be worth more, or would the trebuchet? It really depends on how the battle goes. Now, let's take out one of the mounted yeomen. And put Henri in. Like so. Still just a tiny bit of movement left, but it should be enough to hopefully reach Sigvald. It's not like Henri can reach Louen right now, so he might as well join in on the fun. Alright, and can you still move close enough? Yes, just barely, but yes. And we can always have Henri leave the army right after, so that we can go after Wallach, assuming that we win or we aren't so badly damaged, and that we can no longer fight. Henri, we'll also level you up. You have Bannerman available. Actually, you don't have it available. Next turn, or next level up, or next episode. And you have training. Huh. Did I already reset him? I don't recall resetting you. I guess I did. Why the heck did I give him 2 points in training? Unless maybe he already had them? I feel like I wouldn't have gotten training, because I basically never do. Huh, weird. Okay, well, not important. Let's get you 1 more point assigned. Retinue Bard's not gonna be too helpful here. Melee defense +4 when fighting undead. It's slightly better than melee defense +3 and hard to hit, and will move you towards my vow. Probably the way to go. Nothing here is going to be a big enough consideration. What is unfortunate, though, I should say, is the fact that Henri does not have magical damage. It looks like he's the only paladin, despite being a legendary paladin, that doesn't have magical damage. And it's a little bit odd. It's curious. Well, either way, for now we're going to give him the Silver Lance of the Blessed. I mean, he already hits reasonably hard. We may want to get the additional melee attack. Either one is fine, even though the Giant Blade also feels like a nice thing to have for him. We should also probably swap some of these things out. Actually, you know what? Wait, let's take a look at Adelard first. And yes, I'm obviously going to do the items now because... Oh! But then... Yeah, we have 1 Sword of the Ladies Champion, I take it, to give magical attacks. Yeah, we have just the 1. But do we give it to you? I don't know. You know what, I think we give it to Henri, because he has splash damage. Adelard, you're gonna have to go with, let's say, an Executioner's Axe for now. Oh, your melee attack's quite low. I don't like that either. Maybe we just swap the Silver Lance of the Blessed. Damn, no Executioner's Axe for anybody, I guess. Alright, let's do this. Ooh, a Crown of Command. That might come in handy, depending on whether we have another potion or something useful we could give you. Do we have a Pigeon Plucker pendant? Yes, we do. Okay, wait. We may have use for this as well. Because the enemy has flying units here. Do we have any other anti-flyer stuff? Just the Pigeon Plucker pendant by the looks of it. So nice, though. Talisman of Endurance, that's all fine. Obsidian Amulet, Crown of Command, could potentially be useful. Alright, fine. We'll give you the Sword of the Ladies Champion, then we'll swap it with Henri, like so, and trade you the Silver Lance instead. You lose magical damage, but you gain a little bit of extra attack. The Shield of Talos might be better on Henri. What is this? Mane of the Pure Breed. Rare. Charge bonus plus 25% cavalry. And... Does this actually work? Let's see. Weapon strength plus 12% and charge bonus plus 25%. You have weapon strength at 70 and charge... Okay, 70, 50. If we put this on... Oh no, there's still at 70, 50. Yeah, I remember this was an issue with some items that worked like this in my Zatan campaign, but I don't remember was whether this actually worked once we were in battle or not. Because it doesn't have augment or anything on it. It should just straight up buff them. It doesn't. And I'll test it out later. I'm not risking it on this one. Shield of Talos. Do we replace you with an armor of the... Yeah, we probably replace you with an armor of the Midsummer Sun here. Better defenses if nothing else. Sword of Strife doesn't help us. We could try to transfer these into better items, but they're not bad, and I'd rather not lose them. Syrian's Locket. Who do we give the anti-flyer thing to? You should probably not get wrecked. Let's give you the Crown of Command for now. Help those peasants not rout. Curse of Fortune gives you... No, it doesn't really help us here. Alright, keep Syrian's Locket, I think. Henri, you have how much more HP? 6,000 versus 7,000? Yeah, you have a little bit more. Let's take out the Charmed Shield, and let's give you... Keep the Potion of Toughness, and give you the Pigeon Plucker Pendant, and give you, despite the fact that you're a bigger target, so we'll have to be careful, and we'll give you, where's that other armor? Another armor of the Midsummer Sun. Do we have any additional ancillaries? Ah, we do have a Scarecrow banner. Okay, yeah, we're gonna take that from Rapunzel, as I doubt she's going to be facing off against any flyers anytime soon, meaning the banner is worthless to her. Like so, and you can have the Standard Discipline, which we're not using, but we're not stealing any other banners. At least not at the current time. Oh, Twilight banner. Nice. Alright. Anything else that would help here in terms of ancillaries? You can have a valet. Wouldn't help, but if we win, it'll be more stuff. And, okay, Servant is for heroes. Gesture doesn't help us here. No, that looks like that's it. Alright. Can you... You know what I'll do? Probably not going to send you into the battle much, but let's give you the Executioner's Axe, just temporarily. And if we lose this is going to be ugly, because that's a lot of items that we're investing in this, but we need all the help we can get here. Alright, well, I'm hoping that's gonna be good enough, but I guess we're about to find out. Let's pop you into the Crusade stance, and away we go. Valiant defeat, yeah, well, not unexpected. We'll put the Scarecrow banner on. Yeah, these are going to be a freaking huge issue. And the Hex Wraiths and the Cairn Wraiths, well, also the Terrorgeist and the Vargulf, but very little magic damage, very little mana. All up to Henri and the Damsel here. Alright, well, Scarecrow banner to you, and our Lord has lower leadership, so we're going to give the Standard of Discipline to him. Let's give it a try. Alright. Alrighty, battle ready, and the first of the battles that we've got to be ready for of this sort of battle variety hour episode. Also, speaking of variety hour, battle variety hour, the final episode of my Eltharion the Grim mini-campaign dropped yesterday. I think it was yesterday, and even if you're not interested in the melee challenge present within that campaign, I do recommend giving that final episode a shot, as it's just a bunch of good endgame fights, no administration, and where I had to really work for the victory. So, anyway, speaking of working for the victory, this is going to be a toughie here. I think probably the most difficult battle we're likely to fight in this campaign. Honestly, if the roles were reversed here, as in if we had the type of troops that the enemy had and vice versa, this would be hilariously easy. But anyway, let's see what we can do. We've set it up so that our yeomen are vanguard deployed forward, and all of them are going to try to focus down the enemy master necromancer. Obviously, it's a big morale shock to drop him, as well as trying to get rid of the corpse cart and trying to get rid of his spells, all of which would be very, very nice to do. The rest of our army is going to wait back here, pretty much surrounding the two trebuchets, the Castle Crashers and the Crushinator, and are just going to hopefully prevent the enemy from destroying them while we try to do the damage. As to whether the knights will be sufficient, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Alrighty, start dishing out that damage there, yeoman. Oh, look at that, these guys have helmets. Nice job. And I guess these guys also have helmets. For some reason I wasn't expecting them to have helmets. But I guess they all do. Alright, let's watch the HP on that Necro. Alright, down to about a third, but unfortunately the rest of the enemy units are moving in. Gonna drop some trub shots on the enemy Graveguard as they give chase, but it looks like we're going to have to back away. Well, these guys are certainly moving fast enough by the looks of it, all hiding behind their swords. Kind of adorable. Alrighty, and the Necro is still alive. If we let him sit there for too long, he'll simply use Master of the Dead regeneration and regeneration to heal himself on top of the invocation of Nehek. So we're going to try to get around the rest of the enemy forces and employ our mounted yeoman in such a way that we can hunt him down. As to whether that works out, well, that remains to be seen. We've also got the enemy Cairn Wraiths and Hex Wraiths running around, and we gotta be real careful about the Hex Wraiths because they can chase it down and easily rip our yeoman apart. In that light, our Lord Adelard and Henri Le Massif, his first battle on his Hippogriff, are going to land, and they're going to do their best to distract and destroy those damn Hex Wraiths. And I say damn, but in a good way. They remain my favorite unit in the entire game, so... Alrighty, and while they're distracted, we're going to drop a quick Renaissance Thunderbolt on them. Only going to melt a few of them away, but every little bit counts as we really need to get rid of them. More importantly than that, here come the Knights to smash into them, though the enemy is doing the same to us. Over on this side, our Defenders of the Realm, our Summon Knightly units, are guarding, and it looks like they're going to take quite a bit of damage from the Hex Wraiths as well. Alas, they have no magical damage themselves, and this is not an assault they're likely to survive. There's the enemy Terrorgeist, also getting that Terrorgeist Shriek in, or Terrorgeist Breath in. The Shriek, I think, is a different ability. Terrorgeist Shriek and... Now, Death Shriek and Terrorgeist Shriek. Completely different abilities. And yeah, that's gonna hurt just as much, and already our Defenders of the Realm, which so admirably held off Norska last episode, are down to half HP. Not looking so good for them. On the bright side, we've managed to avoid most of the enemy army with our mounted yeomen, and they're going after that enemy lord, while our knights are trying to dish out damage to the enemy Hex Wraiths. Once again, because of the 75 physical resistance, we're not going to be super effective at damaging them with the Knights of the Realm, but at least our Lord and Hero will be able to hopefully knock them down in decent stead. We shall see. Alright, there's that ride-by, drive-by that the yeomen are doing, and the enemy lord has reached his healing cap, so at least we should be able to bring him down, if he doesn't just out-heal this for a while. How many arrows have we wasted on this, by the way? Nearly half of all ammunition gone on these guys, and he's still up. And damn, it'll be worth it, but yeah, mounted yeoman, not very good. Not that we didn't know that already. Anyway, here come more enemies. The Vargulf is leading, and while we do have a lot of anti-large in this army, the Bat Hulk is going to be difficult to bring down with pretty much any of the units. It does have a big HP pool and regeneration after all. Over on this side, we have the Hex Wraiths kind of spread out together with the Cairn Wraiths, and they're going to be the biggest problem other than the monsters. Probably actually more so than the monsters, because the single entities can be hunted down with our own single entities. I do wish that the Grail Relique's ability, whatever it was called, Holy Presence, something along those lines. Where is it? Yeah. What the heck? Oh, I've selected questing. Okay, wait 1 second. I'll take a look at that right after we watch the enemy lord finally and go down to those mounted yeomen. There we go, and assassination complete, and you better get the heck out of there before the Cairn Wraiths absolutely rip you apart. And I do love my Cairn Wraiths as well, so gotta cheer them on at least a little bit. Anyway, yeomen are getting the heck out of there, and we'll then start hitting the main enemy army in the back, though at least now the enemy army is unsupported by their by the Necromancer's magic. What I was talking about before I got distracted was this. The Grail Relique, Sir Pierre Holyfeet here, and the Holy Presence ability. So it doesn't say anything about cooldown here, but it seems that this ability doesn't become active, or you aren't able to use it until like 5 minutes into the battle, which is a long, long time. This is it seems like it's even more difficult to actually employ this ability or actually activate this ability than it is to employ murderous prowess before the battle is over for the Dark Elves. I find it a little bit odd that you can't use it at any time, but oh well. Or at least maybe make it so it charges up in melee or something, I'm not sure. But yeah, if you're wondering why I didn't immediately use that to give everybody magical attacks to actually deal with the Cairn rates and the Hex rates, that's why, because we can't. Anyway, ghouls look to be in pretty bad shape here, as they have not much of a chance against the questing knights, and now we've got the support of the yeomen now firing into the backs of all these guys. That said, it looks like the Vargulf is slowly beginning to bring down the questing knights here, and that's obviously dangerous for us, as there are ringers, our main non-hero unit. Here comes Henri le Massif charging into the back of the Hex rates. And we need him to apply his magical damage and hopefully destroy them, and it does look like they're going to begin to crumble away, though it is going to take some time. Battle is hardly over, though the balance of power is now in our favor, and it looks like we're just about to bring down one of the Terror Geists. There we go, as our Lord, together with the Questing Knights and all this pile of anti-large units, finally brings it down. That said, there are plenty more enemy Graveguard where that came from, hitting us in the side here. It has actually turned out fairly well, as our Knights of the Realm, when they were distracting the enemy Hex rates here, drew forth almost half of the enemy Graveguard to actually try and chase them down. This left all of these 5 units of Graveguard not contributing to the fight until they ran all the way here, and being a relatively slow infantry unit at 28 standard movement speed, it took them a while. Oh, I like the grass in this particular battle. I'm expecting all of the grass in this snowy area. Anyway, looks like still plenty of Graveguard to kill, but at least the Cairn rates, or no, the Hex rates are out, and the Cairn rates will hopefully follow. And the Vargulf is still fighting, and we are starting to run out of questing knights here, as they're down to about a third of their HP and 35 models. But it does look like the battle turns further into our favor, as more of the enemy Graveguard are beginning to melt away, and the peasants are just barely holding. Alright, we're gonna take heavy damage to this battle. I don't think any of our units are looking like they're going to get destroyed, but the damage is certainly there. Cairn rates now being attacked by Henri le Massif, who has some very nice buffs with that Holy Presence finally up, but now everybody's doing magical damage, though a little bit too late with now only this one ethereal unit remaining. A shame, but oh well. At least we managed to take care of the others in good stead with our other units. Piles of Graveguard continue making their way down the hill and towards our trebuchets, so we're going to protect our trebuchets by keeping the remnants, well, not really remnants, but the Knights of the Realm, who are down to about half HP, right here and blocking them. Of course, they're shock cavalry, so they shouldn't be in a protracted fight against Graveguard like this, but it's better than the Graveguard destroying our trebs. Although I suppose, on the other hand, if we're going to replace the trebuchets soon anyway, it won't matter. Oh, but it looks like we won't have to replace the Knights of the Realm or the trebuchets, as finally the Graveguard begin to crumble away. Alright, and yeah, it looks like everybody's crumbling away. The Vargulf will be the last thing on the field. Everybody is pretty heavily damaged. Our main line is in pretty dire straits as well. And ooh, this questing knight unit is nearly dead. That Vargulf. And Vargulf certainly did a lot of work. Good job, Bad Hulk. He did a great job. And here comes Henri to hopefully bring them down. Not even going to send Adelard in, as I'm worried that Adelard will get too badly hurt at this point. Lovely to see the Hippogriffs do a little bit of fighting now, since it's not only Beaky now. And until we get those Royal Hippogriff Knights available. And there we go. Why did it fall backwards like that? I guess it went back down the hill. Alrighty, well done to Henri, who strikes a pose as the Vargal falls and the battle is ours. A close victory, and certainly I agree with that assessment. We came very close to being overrun for a few seconds there. I do think that we might be a little bit too hurt to continue on to a second battle, even if we do have movement range. So yeah, well, I guess let's find out. Oh, alright, that was most certainly a toughie. Good job to the mounted yeoman for dishing out enough damage to assassinate the enemy necromancer, though it did take quite a bit of effort. The peasants all held the line, dealing about around 10,000 damage, roughly the same as the mounted yeoman. And yeah, there may be good reason to just replace all these peasants, and obviously transfer the names, and turn them into foot squires, because the lack of armor piercing is really painful. Knights did okay as well, a little bit higher than the, or at least the Knights of the Realm, a little bit higher than the various types of peasant units at 13, 14 apiece, and then the biggest amount of damage came from the various types of questing knights. 26k and 17k, yeah, once again, showing the value of all that armor pierce and how much you need it as going from late game and done, especially facing off against heavily armored enemies like this. This unit of questing knights got badly damaged fighting the enemy Vargal here, who did 17k damage and killed off quite a few of said knights as well. But that explains why they did less damage than the other questing knights did. Henri did 4k, not as much as I was actually expecting, but nonetheless, and 5k on Adelard, but it's not like we can expect the same amount of damage from them as we can from Louen. I feel like, while I would... Ah, man, 4k. 4k is significant. On the other hand, a little bit of extra charge bonus wouldn't be amiss either. But 4k would fund more trebuchet building, and blessed trebuchets would have that magical damage, which would have helped against all of these things. Askra just ransom the captives. I'm still interested to see what the debuff actually is, and where are you going? Ah, there's the debuff. Recruitment cost for all units plus 10%, and recruitment rank -1 Lord's Army. Oh, that's it? Oh. Oh, that's not so bad. Oh, I guess I could get this debuff on Louen. Who cares? Unless there's like a worse version of it, but this is really not that bad. Especially considering neither of these two are recruiters. Yeah, that's fine. You can catch up to this guy. But if you do so, you will no longer be able to catch up to Wallach Bylor, who, oh, he has a unit of Blood Knights and a Black Coach. I fear Carrick Ziflin is going to get destroyed. He's going to ignore Black's Impost because I don't think we can take this army anymore. Which means we're better off destroying Rudy's army here. Go. Yeah. Alrighty, do we risk an auto-resolve here? I'm just do it. It's too annoying. 205 loss, good enough. And another 2.5k. A little bit of campaign movement range if we like it as well. Take the money, take the money. Alright, the thing is, you still probably wouldn't be able to reach Wallach Bylor. We could try moving Henri out of the army, if we actually can, and I'm not sure that we can. And that might allow us to move. Nah, he can't leave the army, which means we're stuck here, which means Wallach will most likely attack Carrick Ziflin, which will get destroyed. But, well, we'll have to reclaim it. We can heal up here. This is in Montfort territory, so it shouldn't be destroyed. And we'll go into channeling stance, have a little bit more magics available next turn. Henri, you also leveled up so we can finally have Bannerman, which is why we wanted you here in the first place, and, well, towards Lewin's army. Before going for the next battle, since there's no buildings to build or anything else, let's name a few units, since I didn't do it last time, and now we have the access to these Pegasus Knights. So, Skyborn Chargers for you. Oh, for the love of... Curse you, misclick. You can be... Bretonia's Glory. And you, lastly, can be Riders of Rohan. Should be Flyers of Rohan, perhaps, but anyway. Alright, and that's everybody in Lewin's army named. These guys are going to be transferred to the Flying Army later on when Lewin replaces them with the Royal Pegasus Knights, because, you know, the Royarch should have the royal versions of most of these units. And, well, we can get a few more names in here. We do have Alberic on the field now, after all, and I don't believe we have names for any of his. Yeah, they're all just Knights of the Realm. Alright, let's get a few. And don't have to go with too many. How about... Oh man, I have a huge list. Gendarme for you. Huge list of knight names. Jedi Knights. And... Huh. I have two versions of this. Knights of Cydonia. From different comments, apparently. Knights of Cydonia? Or is this pronounced the same? I don't know. Well, they're going to be... They're on the field now, so it's too late. Starry Knights. And you can be 12th Knights. And you can be... okay, this one's not going to fit, but Luck be the lady to... Oh, actually it does fit, sort of. Yeah, love it. Oh, love the punny names. And, okay, we have a few more, but I think that's good enough, otherwise I'm going to spend the entire episode naming things. Alright, let's see about going back into battle number 2. I guess since we just fought with Adelard, well, I guess he can't fight again anyway, so Lewin, 'tis your time to once again shine. Let's get you into the Crusade stance for the actual battle. We are a little bit hurt. Unless we might need a little bit of extra punch. Although I don't really think so. Mentor for you, Matthias, definitely. We've got a lot of new paladins, and we definitely have to have everybody teaching everybody how to do things. You can go for Scarred Vet. Did I get Selective Abhorrence in 2 levels with you? No, I didn't get Selective Abhorrence at all. Self-centered and Blessing of the Lady. Okay, fine. Which I also did here. Damn, what the heck did I do with the other one that I didn't do with the U? Huh. Weird. Missing something. I can have Deadly Blade. I mean, we're gonna get pretty much everything, and that's good here anyway, so it's not like it's super important, but, you know. Matter of principle. You can have Blessing of the Lady, because you're missing that, and then we'll go into We Are the Elite afterwards for more completely necessary charge. You are going through Onslaught, and... How much mana do we have? Oh, we actually have good amounts of mana on Lewin. So that means we can get a spell rather than Onslaught. And we're most likely to repeatedly use both Shield of Thorns and Regrowth. Though Regrowth is a little bit less needed, generally speaking, as I prefer to just spam Earthblood over and over again. Regrowth's more of an emergency use, so... Anyway, Lewin, away you go. Battle number 2, Forb LeBeau. And yeah, this one should be a lot easier. This is Lewin's army after all, so here we go again. Alright, you know, I find it funny that the Defenders of the Realm, which we now summon, are pretty much only useless in Lewin's army, or at the very least the most useless in Lewin's army, because of the high speed of all his other forces. Anyway, nice that we finally have a proper air force in our various units of Pegasus Knights here, and it looks like there's no coincidence that the enemy has 4 flying units of their their own, a Terrorgeist and 3 Vargeist sets, and we'll send a unit of, or a Paladin, to each one of the enemy Vargeists as well as a unit of Pegasi, whereas Louen, with another unit of Pegasi, will go for the Terrorgeist. Alright, let's see how the Air Superiority Pegasuses, so the Air Superiority Pegasi, do here. But it's always a little bit difficult to see what the heck is going on in these masses of aerial units just smashing into each other. But I'm sure we'll be okay, especially as we've seen the Pegasi bring down the enemy Vargeists without too much trouble, so they'll be dropping out of the sky with great ease. Alrighty, and it looks like the Terrorgeist is nearly done for on both sides. The Vargeists have been surrounded and by and large destroyed, and it looks like at no cost to us, as it seems none of the Pegasus Knights have fallen. And they are great at air superiority, so that does make sense. Here come Louen's Lions once again leading the charge and sending many a unit of Crypt Ghoul flying. You gotta love watching this particular unit charge. So far, I think it's the most entertaining of the units to watch charging because of those glorious lances that glow. Very, very nice. I'm not gonna get tired of that anytime soon. And here come the various questing knight units to follow all of that up, charging all over the place as well. I may reduce the number of questing knights in this particular army by maybe 2, because I want to make sure that we have enough room to have at least 2 Grail Knights and 2 Grail Guardians in this army. But also keep a decent amount of questing knights as well as the main army, because, you know, building an army with nothing but Grail Knights and Grail Guardians is obnoxious and unnecessary. For the same reason that I don't like to build like an all-dragon Doomstack or something silly like that. Also, it's so appropriate that we're fighting the undead in a graveyard. You gotta love it. Alrighty, and now it's finally time for the Pegasus Knights and the Paladins all to land upon the ground. Air superiority has been established, and now they can do whatever they please and apply themselves wherever the enemy is strongest, getting the enemy in the flanks and the back, and allowing our other knight units to not take so much damage to the enemy greatswords. And well, I may have called them maybe not quite useless, but not particularly useful. Ooh, nice stab in the back. That didn't look very chivalrous at all. It's just like pokes him in the back, but the grave guard didn't go down, but for some reason that looked very funny to me, and I immediately forgot what I was saying. Anyway, yes, these guys finally actually get some use here, the melee troops and not the knights, and we do still have some of the knights running around and cycle charging and whatnot. This is a unit of Knights of the Realm, who are sort of running around on the edges of the battlefield, as they are only anti-large units, so their purpose was to hunt down those larger units and those crypt horrors falling amidst the sea of lances. The scariest, I guess, remaining unit, or the scariest unit other than the aerial units in this entire battle, would have been these Cairn Wraiths, and of course they are the longest to remain on the field. Man, we really need to somehow try to get ourselves some Lichbone Pennants, or at least a Lichbone Pennant at some point, just to be able to put magical damage on some of our other knightly units. And of course the Grail Knights and Guardians have it already, but it would be nice for a few other armies. Alberic's, for example, which will probably have primarily Knights of the Realm. I might give him 1 unit of Grail Guardians or something like that. Or a Royal Hippogriff Knight unit. I just feel like he has to have some kind of retinue of his own. Anyway, with that, Mousillon's second and last army goes down, so as soon as we chase down all the troops that remain here due to the dead rise, Mousillon will be dead once again, and the Red Duke will never have a chance to re-rise. Alright, very nice and much easier, obviously, than the other battle. Louen, ransom those captives. Who cares if you're a kidnapper or an abductor or whatever the defeat trait is. Incur Psychon student. Ah, there it is, abductor. Recruit rank -1, recruit rank, recruiting cost, whatever. It's not significant enough for us to care. Let's put you back into regular stance. Hit Adelard Paquet. Again, there's only room for one Adelard in Bretonnia. Although the fact that it's another traitorous enemy is kind of telling. Alright, and with that, Mousillon is gone once more. Louen, you can start heading out to... you know what, go into channeling stance, and then we'll move you after. I'd like you to continue maintaining a decent amount of mana, because, well, it's unusual and it's also nice to actually have. Huh. I wonder... well, let's hope not. I'm just wondering, if this guy manages to sack Zipline instead of raising it, he might be able to move around and hit Adelard again. Let's just in case... we should just in case give him points. Danger ground for you, and you have peasants duty, and then let's get guided by the lady, though it won't actually benefit anybody but the wardens of Montfort right now, but it's okay. You, Florence, you can have... Renounced Thunderbolt will be quite useful. I didn't use Chain Lightning in that one, but I think Comet of Cassandora seems to be the better spell when facing off against a blob that's... well, attacking your units, because never trust the Vortex not to kill off all of your own guys, so, yeah. Alrighty, that's you two. Who else needs to do things? You know what? Once again, we have no buildings to build, so let's put a few more names in there. I guess this is gonna be a heavy naming episode. Grail Knights. You are not gonna be in Louen's army, you're going to the Fey Enchantress. You can be the Knights of Ni. Now we have the Knights of Ni and the Knights Who Say We. And oh, we also have Valor. Let's give you some Valor stuff. Heroism of Negation and Heroism of Negation for you. And weren't there some Foot Knights somewhere? You guys have some Foot Knights, you.
Blessings of the lady be upon
Since you're Foot Knights, you can... oh, wrong button. No, thank you. Rename you to... Knights of the Tower. And you're gonna go join Rapunzel with her little foot army, and we'll see, eventually, how it all goes, as in whether the bug is from what I think it's from. Anyway, Deline... oh, you know what, do you have a student? I did not give you a student, aha! Look at all these students that are being unused. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oh yeah, way too many. I could summon another damsel, but I've been waiting for another beast damsel to put into Rapunzel's army, so I think that's not the way to go. Alright, instead, here's what we'll do. Fey Enchantress, you're gonna move down through the mountains of the filthy prospectors, not the good kind of filthy, and go near to Vulture Tower. The purpose of this is that King Pentu may decide to attempt to attack us once we declare war on Arcan. And when I say once, I mean in about 5 seconds. Rapunzel, you're gonna be the one to do so. And since you have no cavalry, you can just go in regular stance. And we're gonna hit Kofor with you while these two leech. I guess one potential issue is... oh. Alright, what? I may have screwed this up. Wait. What might happen... also, you should go into a normal stance. Or actually go into channeling stance. And then... well, if it happens, it happens. The issue here that I've just realized is thus. What do we have at Kofor? Not much. How much move range do you have? Decent amounts. King Rahobi, whatever, may be able to reach us here at Kofor, which would mean that King Pentu might be able to move in as well via march stance, which means we have to be careful about that. And which we shall be by doing this. Rapunzel, you're not going to be the one to attack. We're going to use Marie Le Chasseur to attack. Now let's also level everybody up before we do. Did I ever give you items? I did not. Let's just give you some random stuff. You have one paladin, and the other paladin is going into the Fey Enchantress's army, right?
Ah, yes.
One paladin is sufficient for a pawns. I just want to match the 2 giant blades to the 2 paladins in 1 army, which is why I don't want to give it to you. Armor of silver steel obviously goes to our poorly armored units. Syrians, Locket is 15 physical resistance, so it should go to a lord. And I can have a sort of strife, there you go. Fencer's Blades, Obsidian Amulet, no. Talisman of Endurances are for lords. And, oh, we have a Ruby Ring of Ruin we can turn into something hopefully not garbage. Iron Curse Icon. And Ruby Ring of Ruin. You just get... That's another Crown of Command. You know what? Screw your Crowns of Command, goodbye. And we got another Silver Lance of the Blessed. It's not horrible, but it ain't incredible either. Alright, well... Deal with that for now. Oh, the reason I started doing that was to give you actual points, because you have a plenty of them. Aladdin, you are in Rapunzel's army. In Rapunzel's army, I think we're better off getting My Vow than Blinding Majesty, because everybody in Rapunzel's army should be buffing up the peasants. And this will include characters or a leadership effect plus this buff, which is, yeah, so. Melee defense when defending, Banish the Damned, Vigor Loss for Cav, Leadership Aura size at the cost of weapon strength and Leadership Aura. I'm gonna go with Leadership Aura. Holy Light. The Holy Paladin. Aladdin. Damn you. Alrighty, well... let's get you the comment of Casset. No, you know what? Tempted by Wind Blast for Tomb Kings in particular. Yeah, you know, just screw it. Get her thing. Get her thing. Alright, and the rest of you are fine, minus you, but what you have doesn't actually matter, so you're just gonna keep doing what you're doing. Rapunz, I would like you to go right here. Outside of Kofor. Marie Le Chasseur. We're gonna have you attack this, and we're gonna declare war on you by asking Camry off. Rakan likes us. I feel bad. But we have to steal his hat. I mean, it's the only logical move. Cetra, relax. Please don't start reciting your titles. Followers of Nagash, declare war. 4.6, man, that wasn't nearly as much as I was hoping for. Would you be able to join war against Scarbrand? 7.2. For 16, all of our money, no. Oh well. And he wants 1,000 gold. And he wants our help for him to survive, I guess, against Manfred. Alright, proposed offer. There we go. A war were declared. Let's hit him. This is obviously going to be an auto-resolve with... Did I not move you, Marie? Yeah, you can go now.
Wipe them out.
Yes, wipes them out. Alright, well, close victory, and a bunch of peasants will die. Oh, for the love of damn you peasant armies. You're gonna make us fight this. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna fight this. We will have to be careful, because Tomb Swarm is extremely dangerous, peasants are extremely weak, and the enemy has artillery and we don't. All of which is kind of problematic. Let's see what we can do. Here we go. Alrighty, well, it is Battle Variety Hour after all, so we're getting lots of different kind of battles with lots of different types of forces, which I'm very happy about. We watched Louen fight, Louen fight, and we watched Adelard fight, and now it's time for Rapunzel and this little supporting army to do the same. And of course, because of the massive piles of infantry in this pile, or this pile of armies, I suppose, it's going to function very differently from those other two battles. I don't imagine it'll be all that difficult, at least I hope not, but I guess we're gonna have to see. The scarier units are of course the enemy's Screaming Skull Catapults and Crypt Horrors and Ushabti, including a unit of Ushabti with Great Bow, which we're gonna try to bring down with Rapunzel and co. Speaking of Rapunzel herself, we are going to wait until she arrives onto the field, and I'm thus just going to speed it up a little bit. Everybody's just going to wait in formation here, and if Reponse is going to come in from that side of the map, we may as well separate our forces a little bit so that we can hit the enemy army from multiple angles. Reponse and her paladin are going to try to get an opening to attack the enemy Ushabti with Great Bow, as well as the enemy catapult, and prevent them from firing as well. And oh, would you look at that? This particular paladin's barding is very similar to Rapunzel's barding. Ah, I like that. Oh, they're matchy, more or less. Gotta appreciate it. Yeah, they're very matchy. This is very serendipitous, as I'm pretty sure that these guys' barding and whatnot is randomized. And his armor, not just the horse's barding. Anyway, while I'm getting distracted by the fancy duds, these two are getting ready to charge. Oh, and it looks like the enemy tries to countercharge us with the Crypt Horrors. We're going to try to dodge those and move around them and get into combat with the Ushabti with Great Bow and those enemy catapults of the Screaming Skull variety. And charge on in, pick up speed, get those skeletons out of there, and we've got at least the Ushabti with Great Bow engaged. Here come the regular Ushabti, and we're gonna pop that halo of Maidenly Wrath on Reponse, who brings down the first of the enemy Ushabti. In the meantime, the enemy charges us. The peasant mobs are getting hit by the Nehekara warriors and the Nehekara horsemen alike, and while of course the peasant mobs stand no chance against them and will probably take pretty heavy damage from our own range fire, we hardly care, especially as this is the reinforcement army. I want to preserve the HP and the unit count of Reponce's army in particular. The reinforcing army doesn't really matter as much, which is why Reponce's army is coming in second. Alright, and it looks like all those Nehekara horsemen are staying engaged, which is not the best idea. They're not shock cavalry, but they don't brawl very well as they are rather fragile with that 50 armor. And of course we'll melt away to peasant bowfire. Speaking of peasant bowfire, we've got a lot of it coming in from various directions. Piles of men-at-arms are moving on in, and the enemy army is going to get surrounded and enveloped in pretty... is that a shovel? Oh, I guess it's one of the... it's one of the peasants' weapons. I was like, wait a second, why is there a shovel just flying on the screen? Anyway, get back to it, peasant mobs. Pretty quickly is what I was trying to say before the shovel distracted me. I blame shovel. Perhaps we should name a unit of shovel knights. Alrighty, Nehekara warriors getting brought down, and the damsel slash prophetess is helping out as well. One of the enemy units of skeleton archers getting absolutely obliterated by an unnecessary, or completely necessary, depending on how you look at it, pile of arrows. We still have the enemy Ushabti, both with Great Bow, and I think the regular ones are in here too somewhere, yeah. Fighting in the midst of all this, together with the Crypt Horrors, but they are being absolutely mobbed by men-at-arms. I love seeing those halberds just sort of, I don't know, arrayed against the enemy. It always gives for nice shots. And we're going to annoy the enemy a little bit by getting a Curse of the Midnight Wind in the biggest pile, really the only pile of enemy units that remains. And they still have the Realm of the Dead healing them up, but it looks like it won't matter all that much. There we are, another one of the enemy Ushabti topples. We're starting to get our range units to try to focus down the enemy monstrous infantry. Although this may not be the best idea in the sense that this is probably going to hurt us just as much as it's going to hurt them. Hard to say, though. Alrighty, and I can hear that halo of Maidenly Wrath going off, even though I don't see it right now. Oh, look at all those arrows. And we see the effect of the crumbling beginning to take hold. Ooh, a nice leaping attack from the Ushabti there, with arrows stuck in it. Gotta love all the glorious shots. Once again, I'm gonna have a lot of fun fighting in the desert and the Badlands with these guys. And against Scarby as well, of course. As we'll have plenty of great shots out of the battles. And I guess if we send an errantry army up to Norska to annoy them, which we probably should, then we'll get some great battles up there as well. Especially since now the Scaling are at war with us, and we may want to preemptively damage or destroy them, even though we're not interested in their actual territories. Anyway, looks like the last holdouts here will be these piles of Tomb Guard, but they are going to get surrounded and quickly destroyed as they crumble away. Beautiful. Another decisive victory. Of course, we expected this one to be a decisive victory. It's just the auto-resolve was being wonky about the peasants, but, well, hardly surprised about that. Alright, well at least unlike what the auto-resolve was saying, we didn't actually lose much more than some peasant mob units, so who cares about that? Oh yeah, the auto-resolve with regards to peasants is really quite a shame. We're gonna have to adjust these armies to the point that the auto-resolve doesn't kill them constantly, or else we'll have to fight every single minor battle, and that seems like a hassle. Anyway, I occupy the place. Like so, we got a free hedge wizard, a free student, another free student I should say, and the coast of Arabia is now ours, and the blessing of the lady as well. Now the reason I wanted you to do that rather than Rapunzel herself is Rapunzel, we're going to pop you into ambush stance, right outside of Kofor, and then we're going to see if the enemy tries to go for us here. It'll think that it could get revenge, perhaps, and we'll just get hit by ambush from Rapunzel's army. It'll still be a tough battle, mind you, especially against this nonsense, but I think this is the way to do it. Kofor, you did keep the Kofor Harbor, and we can upgrade the... Ooh. Do we upgrade the town now, or do we wait 5 turns in order to upgrade Al-Qaik to tier 4 first? That's a question. Going to the peasants' duty either way. Man, I think we wait. I think it's pretty critical to upgrade Al-Qaik. And what do we have here? A Grail Shrine, which is great, but not something that we're gonna keep here. Go for ducks. You'll generate money. Virus will generate money. This is gonna be one of our big money-making provinces, so... yeah, alright. All looks good to me, and I do believe that's everything that we need to do. Ah, no, Tech Thief, you still need to move. Our one and only Tech Thief. Can you succeed instead of dying, please? Yes, you can. Oh, well done. You can now have, I guess, Wound? Is anything here faction-wide? Just Potent. And we don't have Power Sap available anyway. Yeah, let's go Wound. I might as well. I don't think anything else is faction-wide. I guess the Curse of the Lady is enemy armies in region, so we could follow an army around and do that if we really wanted to, but that seems like a lot of hassle as well, and I'd rather avoid such hassle. Coast of Arabia, we're going to ignore you for 4, hopefully 3 turns, and let's do Diplo to be able to go to next turn. We have trade available now, plenty of it. Itza, we want to trade with you. Kemri, we want to trade with you. I think we have to prioritize Itza. Somebody asked me in the comments what units we might want for the Tomb Kings that would sync with Bretonnia, and it's basically construct units. With regards to range, Bone Giants, and Ushabti with Great Bow. With regards to knightly armies and peasant foot armies, anything that's a big ol' anchoring point for the line that Bretonnians don't have other than their paladins, which would mean Hierotitans, Necrosphinxes, and Hemrian War Sphinxes. Those are the things that would be useful from Tomb Kings for us, not so much their infantry and other such things. There's some potential for Sepulchral Stalkers as well, because they're essentially kind of like ranged cavalry, except much better than the the mounted yeoman archers. Now I'm just referring all the yeoman archers as wannabe knights, but anyway, yeah. On the other hand, the lizards have the better unit, and it's only 1 unit, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of units that are useful in the lizardman roster for us, but specifically what I would like is the revivification crystals, which are just fantastic. Always worth having lizard allies just for that unit. Last defenders, Kemri, you're very... oh, damn. The fact that they can now trade after we've declared war on these guys. Oh well. I think we'll actually wait to trade with Kemri. 5,000 gold. Do we just give them 5,000 gold? It'll take a long time to pay for itself. Or we could just do military alliance now, but then he'll attack the lizards, and you know what? I'm just gonna leave that alone for a bit. It's not enough money to be that concerned with. Let's re-up technology, and the tech that we want is probably charity first for the bonus control, and then we'll start moving into irrigation ditches for the infantry upkeep reduction, as well as there should be another upkeep reduction here, upkeep reduction for peasants at 5%, and then right after that, wider plows and water pumps for the focus on additional 40% farm income. All of which is nice. Alright, now we can end the turn. Yes, yes. Skip, skip, skip. Outpost available. I probably could have taken a look at those. We could do that next turn and turn. And I forgot about you, Merovech. Okay, well. I was about to forget somebody at some point. In my defense. Trade gain muster for Therese, that's fine. I want to see what the Tomb Kings do. Yeah, so the problem with this is if this guy starts fighting Camry, he's currently fighting the... Oh, he's fighting the Court of Libaras. You know what? I'm going to say no, Crockguard, though I do love you so. At least, not yet. And... Huh. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. He's going to siege and immediately attack Vulture Man. He really didn't do what I was expecting. I was expecting he'd either besiege the place or go over there. He did neither. We'll attack it directly. Well, you know what? We wanted battle variety, and I think we have it. Let's see if we can hold him off, and if we can't, I guess we'll send... we'll send the Fey Enchantress to clean up this army after. Here we go again. Alright, it looks like a no speech this time around, but here we go. A defensive siege, which appears to be in the underway for some reason. Oh, yeah. Well, this is the Greybeard's Prospector's former territory. That's what they get. Anyway, was not expecting a defensive siege. We haven't had a lot of those in this campaign, have we? Is this the second siege we've had all campaign that's from a defensive perspective, as in, it was this one and Scarbrand. I can't remember if there was any others in this particular campaign. Huh. Interesting. Well, either way, let's see if we can pull this off. The enemy has it's being attacked by at 3 different locations, with most of its units concentrated over on this side, and thus most of our own units concentrated on this side as well. Also, it looks like Tomb Swarm actually does work and damages units that are on top of walls, so great for Tomb Swarm, not so great for us. Also, we have High Elf units here, which I guess our color scheme? Huh. They take the red, but they don't take the blue, it seems. But it actually looks pretty decent, if a little bit Christmas elfy. But if it works, it works. And we should have a unit of the Eternal Guard somewhere around here as well. That is also from the Elven Outpost. You. Let's see how you look. Ah, they do have the blue. Well, they don't look too bad. Yeah, very much reminds me of Belicar's color scheme, which is also red and blue. Although both the dwarfs and the elves would be insulted at the comparison. Anyway, let's see how we've set up this particular battle. Over on this side, we have the least in the form of the various peasants on the walls, just 2 in order to activate the fort towers. However, we have the most knights here as a unit of knights errant and a unit of knights of the realm. Have been deployed just inside the settlement and are going to head out to hopefully destroy this unit of Ushabti with great bow and whatever else it is that they can reach. Not super worried about the Tomb Guard actually reaching us, because it does look like the 4 towers together with the single unit of peasants should be sufficient to bring this one down. Over on this side we have 2 more units of Crypt Horrors, but here we've deployed a lot more of our units of peasants, and hopefully they'll be able to bring all this down, while the 3rd unit of knights, the Knights Errant, will loop around and try to hit these guys in the back while they climb, while they go through the gate, and hopefully destroy the enemy skeleton archers as well. But I guess the biggest portion of the battle will be here, where the enemy's concentrated on most of their units and where we've concentrated most of ours, including the elves. So let's see them do their work. Alright, fire on down, and of course the enemy still has to break through all of our gates. They have nothing that will make quick work of them, so they're going to have to slowly make their way through with their pile of crypt horrors. They should be able to do decent amounts of damage with the shotgun-like blasts from the sepulchral stalkers. They're fairly okay at damaging units up on walls, well, depending on the unit, I guess. So they might be able to do some damage, but this is still not a great way to use them. Alright, well, the walls remain ours. You gotta love watching defensive sieges. And especially when they're fairly rare like this. Let's check back how we're doing on the other side. We have our Knights of the Realm and Knights Errant who have both charged in. The former having engaged with the Ushabti with Great Bow, which was the main thing that we wanted here, as these units are pretty darn threatening. Want to apply the anti-large of the Knights of the Realm to them while we get the Knights Errant out and get them ready to charge the enemy. Again, tongue got away from me there for a sec. Alright, the skeleton archers shambling forward. Over on this side, the enemy has more or less reached the walls as Tomb Guard start climbing, and unfortunately we have no peasant men-at-arms here, just peasant bows, and thus the Tomb Guard should be able to rip those apart if they don't get too heavily damaged by the knights just below with the ladders. The enemy skeleton archers are pretty much destroyed, but it looks like the crypt horrors are still very much alive, or at least one of them is, and the other one's about to go, but this one's at full HP. Alrighty, balance of power is still very much in the enemy favor, though they are losing units. There's that last Tomb Guard of this particular unit going down, and we can see the Realm of the Dead activate as well. Lots and lots of enemy cav on this side, and nothing they can do until those gates have been broken through. And sort of similar for the various Ushabti and other monstrous infantry, they all gotta go through those gates somehow. One of those rare situations where the AI would have been better off bringing just nothing but piles of skeletons and Tomb Guard and just storming the walls with them, rather than units that can't go through the gates. But once again, that's their problem. Now we do have our unit of field trebs back here, which have been firing, doing a little tiny bit of damage, but frankly it looks like they don't have an ideal angle, and because they can only fire on the enemy skeleton horsemen, or Nehekara horsemen, they're not getting too much in the way of kills, but it's not a big deal as our archers are certainly cleaning house. Alrighty, well, a good job to the enemy, however, as I made a little bit of a gaffe and left our unit of trebs unguarded, which means the enemy will activate the third level of the Realm of Souls and summon its unit of Ushabti right on top of those unprotected peasants. And of course the Ushabti will rip the poor trebs apart, but one, this is a garrison unit, and two, they're peasants. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal, though we will move our units to deal with those Ushabti shortly. Balance of power is still in the enemy's favor, as once again, the auto-resolve really just doesn't like the peasants very much. It looks like our Knights Errant here also got very badly hurt in fighting the various units of skeleton... well, actually no, they probably only got hurt fighting the enemy crypt horrors. Well, once again, you gotta remember that Knights Errant are very, very fragile. Over on this side, the Knights have pretty much cleaned house, and only a single unit of Ushabti remain, as the rest have fallen, and the Knights will be able to move out this way. And it looks like our field troops have routed, and the Ushabti are heading towards us, but we'll counter them instead, and by sending our own units their way. The Eternal Guard, mostly because I want to see them fight a little bit, and we also have to remember that as the Green Knight is no longer summoned on the map, he is summonable during defensive battle, so this random Paladin Defender will be joined by the Green Knight himself, who will charge towards the Ushabti and knock one down with his first strike, actually destroy one with his first strike. And I'm sure the Green Knight alone would have been able to handle them, but we have a little bit of elven help here as the Wood Elf Eternal Guard join the fray, shouting prayers to Eldrazur, I'm sure. And now there's nothing to say from a tactical perspective, just watching the spectacle of the Green Knight and the Elves face off against the Ushabti here. And ooh, and it looks like our tower, I believe it was an explosive tower that was over here somewhere, that's right there, is helping out as well. Oh, and this is the cow launching tower, nice. You launch those cows. I wonder how effective that would actually be against an Ushabti. Well, cows are pretty heavy, so actually probably reasonably effective against Ushabti, probably a little bit less so against Hyro Titans and the like. Anyway, the summoned Ushabti are going down. The balance of power finally shifts in our favor, though the enemy army has not yet broken. The knights from this side have finally moved over onto the main portion of the enemy assault, though it looks like the enemy lord is nearly done for, and so are his Ushabti. Just that unit of Crypt Horrors remaining on this side, and a unit of Crypt Horrors remaining on this side as well. And though, of course, despite the fact that we've lost some units, and these idiot peasants actually routed from the walls, and they ran down like this and out the gate like this into further units of Crypt Horrors. It's kind of bizarre how units route, it seems, in the most wrong direction. I know they're just trying to get the shortest path to escape, but to run outside the walls. A very interesting choice in that particular case. Anyway, let's watch the last of the enemy units destroyed, but it looks like with the critical mass of units needed to break through lost, and it looks like they won't be able to break through any of our gates and will just fall. Elven arrows and the Ushabti now, taking them a while to bring them down, of course, but once again, if they can't make their way into the city, it doesn't matter how long that takes. Alright, just gonna wait for these piles of units, including our paladin here, to come in and help. Also nice that the paladin spawns on a mount, rather than on foot, as it would be unfortunate if it didn't. How close did the enemy get at breaking through the gate? 10k, so 1/3 of its HP remaining, but too little, too late. The enemy lord crumbles away, the Ushabti follow suit, and it looks like this unit of Crypt Horrors will be the last thing on the field. Here come the Eternal Guard, and I believe a few peasant units right behind them. There we go. And the Knights of the Realm and the Knights Errant charging in from the back as well to surround and destroy the last of the horrors. And beautiful, and with that, the siege is over, the battle is ours. Okay, there was another little unit of Crypt Horrors back here, no, Ushabti back here, for the Green Knight to rip apart. And of course they would have melted away, as once again they were unable to make it through any of those gates. Once again, lovely to see a siege. And there we go. Not too bad at all. It was nice for the AI, I suppose, to actually attack us rather than waiting to build those siege towers, as they cannot break through the gates easily. And without it, and due to the, well, the most dangerous units were all their monstrous infantry, but they can't go up walls, which, well, it was the enemy's problem. We're going to ransom those captives for a little bit more cash, since we're once again at a point where we actually need it. Non-aggression pact, no, I still don't know what's going on over here in Illustria. And, oh, Kemmler's back, so maybe we can get Adelard to actually fight him. I wonder whether it's worth our time to actually fight this. I fear that we wouldn't be able to actually kill off anything. Without any magic, without any... I'm sure we could get a few charges in and maybe kill a few bats or something like that. But you know what? I'd rather have the full army just catch up to this army and kill it the old-fashioned way. So let him have Ziplin, and then we'll retake it right after in a couple of episodes. Or, well, a couple of turns, rather. Not episodes, I hope. Military alliance with Durthu? No, Durthu, I love you, man, but I don't trust you not to go all Exterminatus tree on everybody. Hariath Safari still... Oh, well, actually, now at this point, they're friendly with everybody on Ulthuan. They're no longer upsetty about things. I'd love to get the trade agreement, but not right now, because we're saving that for potentially Camry, so let's get everything else, and then we'll probably end up trading with you later. Tiranoc, you also want the trade, but no. We don't have enough goods for that. And defensive alliance with Ellendelling. Oh, now that we're at war with the scaling, maybe Ellendelling is worthy of a defensive alliance? Yeah, sure. Better not screw us on this Ellendelling. Let's just take the money from you. Alright. And Torgavon, what do you want? Military alliance. No, I don't trust you. Nor Vidrioth. Well, actually, funnily enough... Nah, it doesn't matter. See, they will already have outposts because they already have alliances, so there's literally no benefit to doing this. Alright. A recruitment cost, Cult of Pleasure, 1,000 Moz, get some of their rituals up and running. Carrickzipline lost, but it'll be retaken. And there we go. And with that, we are out of time, most definitely, after four battles here, so I'm going to call the episode here. Next time, Adelard moves towards Kemler to retake Carrickzipline. He might still be too hurt for it. Maybe we'll sit in Montfort for a while and defend it against Kemler, as he wouldn't be able to take it while we allow Louen to approach. We'll see what Kemler does and we'll destroy him either way. Otherwise, it'll be hopefully a quick time to retake or take all of the territories of the followers of Nagash, at which point we have to move out to intercept Skarbrand before he takes anything out here or over here, which is very much a possibility, and then move towards Manfred and whatever he's doing down here as well. Stay tuned for all that. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm. Remember the thresholds, and thanks for watching.